At Hanwha High School, a man was running for his life. His breath came in ragged gasps, each step echoing against the dim, haunted corridors. Desperation drove him into a bathroom, where he slammed the door shut and pressed his back against the cold tiles. For a moment, he thought he was safe, but when he dared to glance upward, his heart sank. There it was, the ghost, hovering directly above his head, its hollow eyes fixed on him. Terror consumed him, and instead of confronting the apparition, he panicked. His shaking hand slammed the exit key, shutting down the game abruptly. In reality, Dian Choi tumbled backward from his chair, landing unceremoniously on the ground, his chest heaving. Dian Choi, streamer, gamer, and entertainer, had been at this for 3 long years. And yet, moments like this reminded him how thin the line was between performance and feared. As his stream cut to his startled expression, public messages began flooding his chat. "Finish it. Don't chicken out. We've been waiting for this." Their words scrolled endlessly, half mocking, half encouraging. Dian scrambled upright and tried to compose himself. Clearing his throat, he told them that he hadn't chickened out at all, that he was going to continue. Under their relentless pressure, he forced himself back into the game. This time, through sheer adrenaline and determination, he managed to finish it on his first try. He leaned back, a grin tugging at his lips. "There, you've finally seen me beat it," he announced proudly. The chat erupted in applause and cheers. Among them, one familiar name lit up. Yudi. A donation alert blinked across the screen, 20,001. Dian thanked him warmly. But almost immediately, the tone of the chat shifted. People began asking about Sokch. Why hadn't he streamed for a month? What had happened to the collaboration they'd been anticipating? Dian's smile faltered. He explained that it had been a full month since he'd last heard from Sokch. Someone in the chat mentioned the game Sokch had promised to stream, the one he'd teased but never delivered. After that, he had simply vanished. Maybe he ghosted everyone to play it alone, Dian muttered, half joking. Though unease flickered in his eyes, he quickly wrapped up. "Anyway, I'm heading out. Need to visit my folks today. On the way, I'll drop by and check on Sokch. I'll tell you what's up with him." With that, he ended the stream. His phone buzzed almost instantly. It was his mother, asking when he would arrive. Dian told her he was still busy streaming, but would need about an hour and a half to get there. Packing up, he left his dorm, repeatedly calling and texting Sokch during the trip, but no reply ever came. After some time, Dian pulled into a rest stop. To his surprise, a message finally arrived from Sokch. Relief surged through him until he opened it. There was no explanation, no update on his whereabouts. Just a single link. Confused, Dian tried calling again, but once more there was no answer. Against his better judgment, he tapped the link. It led to a game titled Heart Racing Ghost Dating Simulation. The premise was bizarre. Players were tasked with romancing girls who had suffered failures in their love lives, helping them find closure so they could return home. He shrugged. Why not? With little else to do at home, he downloaded it. Just then, a lightning bolt split the night sky, making him flinch. When he looked back at his phone, the game had already finished downloading, unnaturally fast. A chilling warning appeared across his screen. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Do you still want to join? Once you begin, you cannot quit midway. Dian hesitated only a moment before pressing accept. A matchmaking screen flickered to life. He climbed back into his car, merging onto the Freedom Road. A few minutes later, his GPS pinged unexpectedly. Rerouting. Please turn left. He frowned. How could he possibly turn left while driving on the highway? Must be a glitch, he thought. Moments later, another alert came. You have reached your destination. Bewildered, he slowed. A figure was standing directly in front of his car. Panic seized him. He slammed the brakes, but too late. Impact thudded against the hood. Horrified, he stumbled out and found someone lying motionless on the asphalt. His first instinct was to call the police, but his phone lit up with another notification. On this fateful night, you met your match. But instead of loving her, you killed her. Her affection has diminished, turning now to hostility. Below it, comments streamed in from unseen spectators. Run. Get away now. Terrified, Dian bolted, but he didn't get far. A chilling grip seized him. He was dragged down, a figure straddling him, her cold hands tightening around his throat. Her voice broke with grief and fury. Why did you kill me, instead of loving me? In that moment, despite the terror, he saw her clearly. Her face was stricken with sorrow and disturbingly beautiful. He realized too late what it meant. To find a ghost beautiful was already to be ensnared by her spell. As her grip tightened, Headlights flared in the distance. A truck barreled toward them, its horn blaring. Diane had no time to move. Impact roared, and darkness swallowed him whole. It felt as though every bone in his body had been crushed to dust. Pain radiated through him, and he was certain he was about to die. But then, through the haze of agony, he heard a voice. Someone was asking him if he was okay. Diane's eyes snapped open, and to his shock, he found himself not on the highway, not beneath the truck's blinding headlights, but inside the rest stop again. His breath caught. How? He was sure he had been on the highway. How could he suddenly be back here? Was it all a dream? Confused, he glanced down at his phone and froze. A notification blinked across the screen. You have died. Resume from last point? His entire personal profile was displayed, as though the game had swallowed his real identity. The current date and time still ticked forward in real life, and beneath it, a line read, "To leave, exit the area." He couldn't decipher it. None of it made sense. When bystanders in the rest stop approached, asking if he needed help, panic overtook him. Without answering, he bolted out, running back to the road. As he drove, he shook his head in disbelief. "This is absurd," he muttered. "How could I meet a ghost?" Yet almost on cue, the GPS on his dashboard began to glitch again. Static-filled directions rattled through the speakers. His eyes flicked up, just in time to see the girl's ghost appear in front of his car once more. His heart lurched. He gritted his teeth, cursing himself. Why me? All I've ever done is game and stream in my room. Why the hell is this happening to me? His phone buzzed again. Different notifications spilled across the screen, each one reminding him of the rules of the game. Reading them, a thought settled in his mind. It's just a game. I've played countless dating sims on stream before. This can't be any different. If the underlying idea was to win the ghost's affection, then maybe all he needed to do was play it safe, follow the script, and see it through. Resolute, he decided to go for it. But before he could act, a sudden knocking rattled the car door. He stiffened. The ghost stood there, her pale hands pressed against the glass, her voice breaking as she cried out, "Why are you ignoring me?" Trembling, Diane forced himself to move. He grabbed the umbrella from the seat beside him, pushed open the door, and stepped into the night. His legs felt weak, but he walked toward her, holding out the umbrella like a fragile peace offering. "Do you want a ride?" he asked nervously. The ghost froze, stunned, as if she couldn't believe he could actually see her. But before he could explain, she suddenly leapt toward him, clinging desperately. "Don't leave me here, please." Frazzled, Diane coaxed her toward the car. Somehow, he convinced her to sit inside, though she continued to sob uncontrollably, her face buried in her hands. As he drove forward, headlights flashed in the distance. The same truck that had struck him last time thundered past. His grip tightened on the wheel. So, being on the highway meant repeating that same fate. The only way forward was to find a safe place, somewhere he could hear her story, earn her affection, and ultimately escape the game. Finally spotting an open gate along the roadside, he pulled over. "Stay here," he muttered, stepping out to close it. But as he turned back, fumbling awkwardly, he tripped, and the next thing he knew, he had fallen directly onto her lap. He froze, lying against her thighs, heat rising to his face. It was an utterly mortifying, oops kind of situation, one that even he couldn't have scripted worse. The moment he realized he was resting against her thighs, Diane's entire body froze. Heat rushed to his face. Before he could gather himself, the girl tilted her head and asked, her voice tinged with suspicion, "So this is why you gave me a ride?" Flustered, Diane shot upright, his words tumbling out in a rush. No, it's not like that. I only meant to close the gate. I thought, since you're a ghost, you wouldn't be able to do it yourself, so I did it for you. That's all. I'm not that kind of guy." His voice cracked with nerves, and he rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. He had always been the shut-in gamer type, spending his days streaming instead of talking to people, and now he was caught in a situation like this. For a moment, she simply stared at him. Then, unexpectedly, laughter burst from her lips. She clutched her side, eyes glistening with mirth. "I'm relieved," she said, calming down after a while. "At least you're not some kind of creep." Diane sighed, grateful for her reaction. "Right. Well, should we move on? It'll be troublesome to keep blocking the road." She nodded, her expression softening. "Yes, that's fine." Once she seemed settled, he gathered the courage to broach the question that had been nagging him. "So, how did you end up stranded on that road? I mean, if you're okay telling me." Her smile faltered. She lowered her gaze. "I don't know much myself. I remember being dragged away by some guy, and the next moment, I was here, standing at this gate. At first, I thought I had survived, and I felt relieved. But after walking endlessly on this road, begging people to help me, only for them to ignore me, I finally realized I was dead. Her voice cracked, and she let out a small, awkward laugh. I must look really messed up after all that, huh? Diane hesitated. Then, why were you crying? The girl's eyes shimmered with tears again. Because I remembered my family. The thought of them still brings tears to me. Silence hung between them for a moment, broken only by the hum of the night. Then, with quiet resolve, she said, "My name, it's Manhwa. And you?" "Diane Choi," he replied. "Diane," she repeated, and then smiled faintly. "Thank you for helping me out, even though you must have your own things to do." He shrugged, trying to act nonchalant. "It's just a detour for me. Not a big deal." Her eyes glistened with gratitude. "Then, could you take me to my family?" Diane blinked. "Even if they can't see you?" She nodded firmly. "It's all right. I just want to see them, even from a distance. And I want you to relay my final message to them." It seemed doable, and he agreed, steering the car toward that goal. But before long, his phone buzzed again. A notification, midnight date over. Confused, he looked at her. Manhwa sighed. "I can only appear during the night. Could you come back here tomorrow?" He thought about it. "I'm heading home tomorrow, but until then, I'm free. So yes, I'll meet you again tonight." Her face lit up, her earlier grief replaced with elation. "Thank you," she whispered. Then, slowly, her form began to fade, dissolving into the night. Left alone, Diane stared at his phone. His affection level with Manhwa had risen. Even small acts of kindness increased the LP love points. So it really is just a game, he thought. Yet, despite the notifications and metrics, he couldn't shake the feeling of her presence lingering beside him. Then, suddenly, a new notification appeared, this time from Sakch. "Meet me at my place." Diane's chest tightened. At last, a lead. Sakch was the only one who could explain what was happening. Without hesitation, Diane drove straight to his friend's apartment. The moment he entered, a foul stench hit him. Trash was piled everywhere, food containers and bottles scattered across the floor. The door had been left unlocked, swaying slightly on its hinges. Diane's unease grew with every step. He moved cautiously toward the glow of the computer screen. The monitor flickered with open files, and on the walls surrounding it were charts. Messy, frantic scrawls of information pinned and taped. His eyes widened. Every detail was about the missing girl. Manhwa, the same girl he had met on the highway. His stomach churned. None of it made sense. All he had done was download a game. A dating sim of all things. And now here he was, caught in something that felt far darker, far more real than any game should ever be. On the cluttered desk, Diane's eyes landed on a stack of missing person flyers. His chest tightened when he saw Manhwa's face staring back at him from one of them. But she wasn't the only one. Several other victims were there too. People who had recently been kidnapped and murdered. His hands trembled as he shuffled through the papers. Why would Sakch? He thought. Why would someone like him, someone who had always been obsessed only with gaming, be caught up in all this? He forced himself to keep searching. On the floor beside the desk, half buried under a mess of trash, he found a notebook. Its pages were crammed with information about the game. He read quickly, his heart racing. "Ghosts appear only at night," it said, "except for a rare few. And no matter what you do, you cannot uninstall the game." The words made his blood run cold. Just then, a sound broke the silence behind him. A soft, lilting voice. "Ring-a-ring, oh roses," his blood froze. Someone was singing. Slowly, the childish rhyme filled the room, each note clawing at his nerves. His phone buzzed violently with a notification, "Leave immediately. The ghost feels nothing but hate toward you." But it was already too late. She was there. A shadowed figure, eyes brimming with malice, turning the knob of the stove. Gas hissed into the room. Diane spun around, coughing, as panic tore through him. The ghost swung a baton, the blow cracking against his skull. The world blurred into pain and ringing silence. He collapsed. Fire bloomed, an explosion ripping through the apartment. Through the haze of pain, he glimpsed one last scrawl in the notebook, Sakch's desperate handwriting. "Help me." Darkness swallowed him. When Diane opened his eyes again, he was back in the garage, slumped in his car seat. His body trembled as he pieced the fragments together. Sakch had needed help. This cursed game wouldn't let him quit until he saw it through to the very end. He pressed his palms to his face. He couldn't go back for that notebook, not when it meant certain death. But he did know one thing. He had made a promise to Manhwa, and he would keep it, no matter the cost. He would find her family, even if it was the only way to give her peace. When he finally tracked down her neighborhood, The news he received left him hollow. Neighbors told him that after Yunha's disappearance, her father, who had lived there with his 2 daughters, had moved away with the younger one. No one knew where they were now. Dian stood in silence, his heart sinking. He didn't want to disappoint her, but without her family, what could he do? His phone rang, his mother's voice on the other end, asking impatiently why he hadn't come home yet. He muttered that something urgent had come up and promised to visit tomorrow. Spotting another flyer of Yunha nearby, he cut the call short despite her protests. Staring at the flyer, he clenched his fists. If I can't find her family, maybe if I find her body instead. If I return it to her, maybe she'll finally be able to walk free. That night, Yunha waited. She had been standing there for a long time, her hope waning with every passing minute. Disappointment clouded her pale features. But then, at last, Dian appeared. "You're late," she whispered, though relief softened her tone. "My alarm didn't ring," he lied, scratching the back of his head. "I dozed off." She looked at him with tear-brimmed eyes. "I thought you weren't coming." And then she threw her arms around him, clinging tightly. Flustered, he guided her into the car. But when he glanced at her, he noticed something odd. Her head was turned away, pressed against the side window. "Why are you sitting like that?" he asked. Her voice was faint. "I'm embarrassed." He exhaled slowly, then told her the truth about her family, that they had moved away after her disappearance. Her face fell, disappointment shadowing her delicate features. Quickly, Dian tried to cheer her. "We can stop by the convenience store, sit, and talk it over. Maybe we could even contact the police about your family." Her eyes flicked toward him. "Why?" she asked softly. "Why go that far for me? You could just ignore me like everyone else." For a heartbeat, he thought it. "Because I just want to finish this damned game." But the game anticipated him. 2 options appeared in front of his eyes, hovering like a cruel choice. "She's my type. I feel sad for her." Grinding his teeth, he chose the first. Yunha's face lit with happiness. "Really? Do you have something for ghosts?" He managed a shaky laugh. "No. It's just, when I see a pretty girl crying, I want to help her." She blushed faintly, seeming to accept it. For a fleeting moment, the air between them softened. Then his phone chimed. A notification blinked across the screen. "You have reached your destination." Soon they began walking toward the nearest convenience store. Doyen gestured at the dimly lit road ahead and told her, "Now you can clearly see, I had no other intentions. This is the nearest convenience store I could find." Yunha looked at him carefully and replied, "I just wanted to be sure you weren't planning to ask money from my family for helping me, or that you didn't have any bad intentions." He scratched his head, flustered. "I'm not that kind of guy," he muttered, slightly embarrassed by her suspicion. Seeing his discomfort, she broke into laughter. "Relax, I was just messing with you. It's so easy to tease you." He sighed, half annoyed. "Can you please stop doing that?" When they finally reached the convenience store, they found it closed. Before disappointment could sink in, Yunha pointed excitedly toward the glowing sign of the King Motel nearby. "We could stay there. It'll be quiet enough for us to talk." Reluctantly, he agreed, and they walked over. Once inside the room, Yunha bounced onto the bed with childlike enthusiasm. "Ah, this feels like heaven," she exclaimed. He raised an eyebrow. "You're this excited just because of the bed?" "You have no idea," she said, stretching out. "Do you know what it feels like to sleep on asphalt every night, with the constant noises of cars rushing past you? This is the first real rest I've had." She patted the bed beside her. "Come sit." Taking off his jacket, he hesitated. "I'd better not put myself into another awkward situation." Instead, he sat stiffly on a chair across from her. But after a moment, he pulled out the flyer he had kept, the one with her face on it, and handed it to her. Sitting beside her now, he said gently, "The last time I checked, you were still on the missing persons list. I think you should tell me what really happened." Her expression darkened. "I don't remember much. I was coming back from my shift when I saw the crash. By the time I arrived, the accident had already happened. A drunk man was standing there. He strangled me and shoved me inside a car. He had a flower tattoo on his hand. After that, he took me to a warehouse. There were shipping containers all around." She shook her head. "That's all I remember." Doyen looked at her carefully. "You must have been in shock. It's understandable you don't remember every detail." He then asked if she could recall any other contact information about her family. Bitterness crossed her face. "Why bother? They've already forgotten me. They stopped searching." He told her softly what he had heard from the neighbors, how her family had fallen apart after she went missing, how they moved away because the memories of her were too heavy to bear. "They didn't forget you, Yunha. They just couldn't live with the pain. That's why I'll help you, no matter what. And we'll catch the one who did this to you." Scrolling on his phone, he brightened. I think I found your father on Go Talk. Is his name Beyonce? That's him. Overcome with joy, she leapt onto him, hugging him tightly. Caught off guard, his face flushed crimson. You're heavy. Could you please get off me? She grinned mischievously. Your ears are turning red again. He groaned. I know when you're teasing me. That sparkle in your eyes always gives it away. Just stop it already. And besides, I haven't showered for 2 days. I should do that first. You can rest for now. Later, when we're in a sound state of mind, we'll contact your father. With that, he went into the bathroom. But just as he did, his phone buzzed. It was a call from Sakch. On the other end, his voice was frantic, pleading for Doyen to pick up quickly. In the background, a horrendous, ghostly voice crooning. Honey, you called me pretty. Now why are you running away? When he stepped out of the shower, steam still clinging faintly to his skin, Doyen immediately tried calling Sakch back, but the line rang unanswered. His brows furrowed. Yunha, watching him from the bed, noticed his worried expression. It seemed like an important call. I should have reminded you earlier. He shook his head. It's all right. Sakch will call again when he finds the chance. With that, he stretched himself out on the floor, using his jacket as a makeshift pillow. From the bed, Yunha leaned over the edge to look at him. Are you sure you're okay lying there? Doyen closed his eyes briefly. I work sitting most of the time. When my back hurts, I sleep on the ground. I'm used to it. You don't need to worry. There was a small pause before she asked softly. Then can I ask you something? He opened his eyes. Sure. What do you do? And how did you start seeing ghosts? Was there a shaman in your family? He gave a dry laugh. Nothing like that. I have no ties to the spiritual realm. I've lived a completely ordinary life. You're the first ghost I've ever seen. I make a living through game streaming. Her eyes glimmered with curiosity. Can I ask for more? He nodded. I want to visit your place, she said gently, and see you while you're streaming. He hesitated for a beat, then replied, when all this mess is over, I'll take you there. But honestly, my place is a disaster right now. She tilted her head with a faint smile. Can we do it tomorrow? Her words broke off as her body flickered and vanished. Midnight had struck. Left alone, Doyen sighed heavily, gathered his things, and returned home. Standing before his front door, he froze. Memories of his father's harsh words, calling him useless, came flooding back. Still, he forced himself to enter. His mother greeted warmly from the kitchen. His father barely glanced at him, while his mother added, your brother's on his way. They gathered for dinner soon after. The meal began quietly until his father asked his younger brother about his residency. Work hard, he advised firmly. I'm doing fine, his brother replied simply. Stop pressuring him. Their mother chided gently, then turned to Doyen. And you? How are you doing? He forced a smile. I'm the same as always. Inside, though, he recalled bitterly how he had run away 3 years ago, forfeiting his right to truly belong in this home. After dinner, he excused himself. His brother followed him to the door. Where are you going? To the convenience store, Doyen answered. Once there, he bought a shovel. The weight of the purchase pressed on him. His recent expenses had already drained his budget. He would have to survive on cup noodles next month. But then he remembered the game's mechanics. For 100 LP, he could buy an item from the in-game store. Without hesitation, he spent the points on a magnifying glass. According to the description, it revealed clues about the person he was pursuing. Using it, he was directed to a warehouse, the very one Yunha had described. A picture flashed before him, a tree with a hollowed trunk. That was the clue that he searched, following vague paths, until frustration mounted. Maybe he couldn't do this alone. Perhaps if he approached her family, they could involve the police. Together, they might locate her body. And maybe then he could find a way to uninstall this cursed game. Resigned, he turned to go back, but fate intervened. His foot snagged on a root, sending him stumbling. When he regained his balance, he looked up, and there it was. The very tree from the clue, its hollow dark and yawning, his breath caught. Gripping the shovel tightly, he began to dig. Why am I doing this? He muttered, sweat dripping from his forehead. For someone I only met 2 days ago? The answer came unbidden. Because he couldn't bear to see her cry alone, the soil gave way with a sickening crunch. His shovel struck something solid. His hands trembled as he cleared the dirt. And then, horror lanced through him. He stared down into the pit. A body. His body. What the hell? He whispered.